Hey guys. Um, hey Chip. Hey Mark. Hey Paul. Jamie McLaughlin. Good day. Welcome. Peter Notwell. Hello. Um, yeah, I've been a bit slack tonight. I got home. Flat tire on the way on the scooter is a bit of annoyance. I got off the train and the tire was flat, and I guess it'll be flat again in the morning, but we'll see how it looks. If it looks all right still in the morning, I might be okay with it. I don't know why it went flat, but I'm guessing a puncture. So I'm going to have to sort that out. Van's still in the shop getting the alternator sorted, so we're still waiting for parts on that one. Might happen this week or it might not. Yeah, that's my week. It's been a pretty crazy day. I'm glad to be home, to be honest. Hey, Brendan. Money on the e-scooter. 624 Dudley, hello. David Bellani, good day. Hello in Spain. So I only had one day off this last weekend, and I didn't do as much as I would have liked. I got a bit done. I got the mill rewired. I got the new switch on the mill, which is nice. Oh yeah, scooter problems. No, flat tire, that's all. So I had to push it to the servo and pump it up. It's not a big deal. And it's still up when I got home, so we'll see if it's still up in the morning. Otherwise, I'll get to work somehow, I guess. Yeah, it's kind of. No, no, screwing it. I don't know. I really don't know. I couldn't see anything or feel anything, and I had a bit of a look at it. It could have, I don't know, when it went flat. It was fine this morning. Was probably feeling a little bit flat when I got to the station this morning and jumped on the train, and then I pushed it down to the, I don't know, I pushed it down to the locker, and then when I got it out this evening, I thought, yeah, that's a bit flat. All right, done. Hey, Dan. Those tyres have only done about 200 kilometres, so I don't know. I don't think there's much wrong with the tyres. I don't know. It might be puncture. We'll have a look. Yeah, had a flat down on the scooter. Not that impressed. There we go. Still no word about the van. Oh yeah, I did get word about the van today, but I haven't really. We'll see what happens with that. Still waiting on bits. It's a pain. It's got to come from Melbourne, the alternator, and it's got to be genuine parts because no one's got to do an aftermarket one. So it'll turn up when it turns up. Pretty flat all round actually. Yeah, the last ones did 1,000 kilometres. The last set of tyres on it. I only just replaced them like 200 ago. So shouldn't 200 shouldn't worry it. They're just starting to lose some of the road noise. They're probably not rated over 100 kilometres now. That could be another thing. Hey, Raymond. I wasn't doing 100. I was doing 25 because there's a blitz on scooters at the moment. So we're trying to keep to the speed limit a bit. 25's a bit slow, but that's what it is. I'm old, so it doesn't really matter. So I've got this plugged in here because I hadn't charged the device, and I got talking to Joe when I got home and opened the mail and stuff. Yeah, so no excuses except that I'm late. Yeah, all in about 10 minutes and about 200 metres from what I've seen of it. That'll do your tyres quick as anything. I haven't been doing that to them. So there we go. What happened here on Sunday? I wired up the mill. That's a good start. Put a new switch on it. Got it all going again. It's nice. Had a bit of a thought process that thought it needed a DRO on it, and there's probably people that say, no, he's spoiled putting a DRO on a mill. But for finding the centres of holes and things, and centres between 2 points and things like that, it's kind of nice. And kind of anything that speeds up the processes is really good. Hey, James. Hey, Craig. So it's only Monday. And Tuesday night probably. I've done a little bit here in the workshop. I had a bit of a mess around. This is what I'm working on. There you go, one of those, of course. This was already bored. That's the only operation that's been done on this, which is a bit of a pain in that because it's not particularly useful. It's about 6 thou under, which isn't a lot. It's not a bad bore if you have a look there. It's not, see that, it's not a bad bore. Could do with a hone probably because it's a little bit belled. In each end is probably half a thou bell in it. Hey, Bill. So I'm going to try and hone that out or lap it out. This was machined on here and it wasn't machined down far enough. And this was machined on here and it wasn't machined down far enough. And the rest wasn't. So what I had to do was set this up on a mandrel. And I've machined this and machined each end properly to where it should be. And I've drilled these 4 holes with great difficulty without a DRO and had to think about that. And I've tapped this one for the oiler. And this one here, which is the sump guard, and this one here, which is the fan. So I made a little hexagon bolt there. I don't know if you can see that. You probably can. And put the oil on the end of it. And made a pulley, which needs a fan on it eventually. And messed around and machined this out in the bottom here. So that, oh crap, sorry, I may bump the cord there. I've got a broken mount again, sorry guys. Anyway, that's got a bolt on there next, or at some point. That's going to be fun. It's pretty straightforward though, I think. So the way forward, I think, is to find a plate or bolt it on a plate. Put these 4 holes in here next. Tea and biscuits, g'day. Anyway, it's 4 holes, 1 in each corner here to bolt it down. We're going to bolt it on a bit nice square aluminium plate, I think, so I've got something to set it up and to work on it. Tea and biscuits, yeah, we'll see how we go with that. I think Joe's just gone to bed, and to get to the workshop we've got to go through his bedroom, but anyway, we can do this bit here. And then scribe a line round there. Someone sort of already has. We'll bolt those bearings on the bearing blocks on there and scribe a line all the way around on the centre line. And then we can drill and tap these holes here, and we can drill or set it up and bore this one and this one. If you've got a decent lump of solid plate or something to bolt it on, then we can just set that up in the vise and drill that one and set it up in the vise that way and drill them, and set it up in the vise that way and drill this one and this one, and start bolting it up. This crank is too wide here. The one that was in with the engine. It's probably not a bad crank, except someone's put this together about 332 or something too far apart. So as such, that's not much good. It's also got big ugly centre holes in the ends, which I don't like much. I don't think much of that. You can do something better than that. So I might make one of that, but it's solid, put that in it. There's no rings on it. We'll see how we go with that. There's this aluminium piece, it's the piston. So the outside machined at some point. Someone set that up and machine the outside. Next job will be to machine the spigot so that you can grip it properly. And then we can machine the rest. But that's got to fit the piston, just fit the cylinder after it's been honed. Anyway, that's enough of that. What's the engine called? This is Paul Breech's little brother. It's an Amenco or an associated manufacturing company little brother engine, which would have been called the Hired Man or the Chore Boy, I think. I think in Australia or export model was a Chore Boy. The one we saw here. I think the Hired Man was the bigger one, like 3 horsepower. But this is the Chore Boy. And it's a Paul Breach set of castings from years ago. Paul died and passed the business to a guy named Peters. And Peters, I can remember still advertising in the 90s. In Gas Engine magazine and in some of those magazines. But yeah. I don't think that they've been produced since this century anyway. So they're old set of castings. They're a nice set of castings. I picked them up at Summer Bash and promised the guy I bought them off that I'd have a go at making them one day. And because they're half made and sort of half not particularly well made, some of it, I thought I'd go through and have a bit of a mess with it. Raymond, I got your message. I'm just looking here. I'm never at home on Thursday, sorry. I'm working 6 days a week at the moment, so not much help with that. I had a picture of it. I've just thought I'd bring that up. But there's the water cooled version, which is much more common. This is the air cooled one. Come on. Anyway, there's a picture of a complete one. It's very, very sweet, actually. I'm not sure it's going to be that tidy. But give you some idea. Getting the workshop clean is a huge undertaking, and good on you for even attempting it. I'm also messing with these. These washers come today. This is a double coil spring washer. Don't know if it's ideally what we want. It seems a bit heavy, heavier than expected, to be honest. Make these and sit them through and have a little conical flat washer, deep flat washer on there, and then this one goes on there with a nut. I hope that's the theory, and hopefully we can adjust that sort of somewhere near and it won't come undone and give us the right sort of friction on the taper. That's the theory. Got some of them and a couple of extras spares. Because there's a minimum order with these guys, there's some 1/4-inch copper washers for spark plugs for this. We're going to get that ambitious, and some air clips for the valves. So that come today. Cleaning workshops are life's work. I think if you get it clean, well, then you're halfway there, but it's never actually seemed to happen here. So, and tea and biscuits, I told him to remind me, so here we go. You're still plugged in, so if it comes unhooked, you're probably going to die. Right, so we've got this workbench here in the corner. It seems a bit cluttered and stuff. There's a few projects and things on it and stuff we're doing and stuff we're working on. It's hardly big enough, and there's still stuff I haven't put away. So that's a bit of a problem. We've got a magnifying light up here on the bench, which is fairly useful. Air conditioner up there, which I try not to use too much. There's a shelf there with some projects on it. And on this side, there's a rack shelf unit with stuff, which is not particularly well organised or anything. So there we are, and all this stuff, there's boxes of stuff here we haven't unpacked. That's a problem. And I need some storage units for this bench here, which seems to have plans on it at the moment. And there's a storage material storage shelf there that isn't anywhere near full or organised. There's a heap of welding consumables leaning in the corner, which are a bit in the way. I have to think about something to do with that. They could probably go on the back of this bench here, horizontal in the back, and they'd be out of the way. I just thought of that then. Lathes over here. We've got a light up there for that, which is good. This is the lathe. There's bits of the harmonograph here everywhere. That is sort of something I'm procrastinating as well. There's a cabinet here which has got stuff I generally use for the lathe that I haven't really sorted out yet, and lathe collets, stuff like that in it. We've got some artwork on the wall, not very much, but some. We've got plywood up behind the lathe because I reckon it's going to spit oil everywhere. We're not a little bit careful about that. We'll go back round this way because of the cord. So there's the doorway out, and we've got a double wardrobe there which is full of tools and cabinets and things, and junk storage up the top. So every time I turn around I put something away, but it seems to be never ending. And as you can see, I'm not really in any position to actually do a workshop tour. There's a box of Hornby trains there in the way, and another box down there that could go in this box and then get rid of that box. Those two boxes haven't got anything consequential in them, and it wouldn't take long to empty them. I've got spanners down there, I've got some watch parts, I've got some kits and things. I've got a flywheel for sale. Got some angle plates that haven't been put away. I've got a dustpan that hasn't got somewhere to hang up yet. So yeah, there's a belt sander down there until we think of somewhere better to put it. And probably it'll just go over here on this cabinet, on this shelf somewhere when we get that sorted. I've decided that all those hand tools, there's a box of hand tools here that were in the big, and another one there, that were in the big chest that I've got rid of this week, which was out in the lounge. I've decided that I'm going to buy at some point. Oh my gosh. There we go. Take care, Craig. I've decided I'm going to buy another one of these, right, which are these Officeworks tin drawer sets, which they're pretty good really. There's no slides in them, but they're all right. And I'm going to put one on top of that and probably one under that middle toolbox. They're fairly cheap, and that'll get nearly all my hand tools and things out of the top of these boxes, because they're a pain in the neck just in there, because it's just where it all got tossed when I moved, and into some actual drawers so I can access them. And all this stuff down here is sort of, they're all things that we might get to one day. Some of it needs sorting out still. So that's this room. Need some labels on the drawers to make it easy to find something. Yeah, I know where the label maker is. That's kind of, it impresses me that I can, some stuff I can actually go straight to. See, there's a label maker there if you look carefully. This isn't ideal up here. There are taps and dies and things on that shelf, and these are screws and things here. And this is measuring equipment. Not impressed with that. This is just junk. We're still working on it. It's a big job, and every day I'm doing, or every weekend I'm doing a few hours getting it sorted. So eventually we will get there. Make a bit of an effort with it, but it's a big job. We've got a pegboard down here, which is not really ideal. I don't like that very much. What might be excellent, I don't know, let's see, would be to turn this cabinet round, but then you only access one side. That's probably good. Not sure about that. It's not really the ideal thing, this shelf rack, but it does the job for now. I would also like somewhere to put these plans up on the wall. So probably these boards here, which are sitting here in the way, which are actually the sticker boards. You can't find anything else, but you can always find the label maker. That's right, Bill. They'll go on the back of this shelf up here, which gives me a couple of inches down the back of the shelf if I move this forward. The trouble is I've got to unload this and move this forward a bit to do it. And when I do that, it gives me a couple of inches for some storage down the back of things. So that's going to be helpful. That's something that needs to be done. It's a bit overwhelming sometimes. That's why the last couple of weeks I've just gone in and made stuff. But seriously, it's a big job putting stuff away and downsizing enough that I've got stuff to put away, and making the decision that I don't have room for this, or I don't have use for this, and I need to get rid of it. But we're getting there. There's just, yeah, anyway. It's a bit of a nightmare. Appreciate your patience with it, but I didn't get home till like 7:30 tonight, and I'm not going to get anything done tonight. I've got Sunday off at this point, and probably if I've got Saturday off too. And if I get the van back, I'll go down to Dan's, so there won't be much happen this weekend. Either way. That'll be dependent on whether I get the van back before anything else happens. We'll see. Keep you posted, Dan. The other room's a garage, which is accessed through Joe's bedroom, which is a bit. There's also access around the back, and if you open it, you can come backwards and forwards around the back easy, because there is a good door and everything right next to the mill, so there's room to get in and out around the back. But to take the security, like bars and stuff off the door, you've got to go in first. And I haven't done that. And that's got, it's an annex off Joe's CNC workshop, which is the garage. So it's got 2 mills in it, and my D-bit grinder, and a bandsaw, and a bit of other junk, setup junk. And I think before very long it's going to have a surface grinder in there as well. So there we go. It's interesting layout. That's a very good way to put it. Anyway. This is all sort of, there's a bit of work in this. But anyway, if we get some of it done, I won't feel so bad if I leave it. Fuel tank, carby, muffler. It's much better than my usual run because it's actually got those drawings and things that actually work because people have done them and made them. This engine's here in bits. You'll recognise this, and that hasn't got any of this detail at all. It's very short on this sort of detail, but anyway. And there's the governor setup. It's got gears here and a rocker arm across here that kicks behind here with an adjustment. And it's got governor weights on here that is spring loaded off a bracket here, which moves the collar along and kicks that in when it gets too fast and stops the exhaust valve closing. So yeah, it's not fun, but it's all right really. The mill tools are out there and the lathe tools are in here. They do mix up and overcarry a bit, but when I get this organised, we'll have a bit more sort of, well, there's plenty of room around the mill out there and I don't want to clutter that up too much. So at this point, the thing that the mill really needs next is a DRO. So we'll see. I've got touch DRO from Prezzo and I might have a bit of a closer look at that. If anyone's got feedback on touch DRO, I'd love to hear it. Hit me up. Otherwise, I've got the controls off the Centec DRO panel off the Centec, and I can hook that up to it and find a couple of 3 scales for it. So we'll see how we go. Anyway, yeah, this needs to be put back together at some point soon. There's bits of it here everywhere and I need to sort that out. Need to fix the canopy on the Kenneth Wells engine. There's things like that trophy there have got to go somewhere. I think someone's picking that up at some point, that slide. Presso says it's good. Yeah. It might be good and I read some good things about it, but I still haven't really looked at it, if we're being honest. I haven't really had enough time to look at it, and that might end up on the mill. We'll see. I think John Creasy had some little issues with it, but probably minimalist stuff. And probably there's ways to overcome that. But by the time you buy a tablet and stuff for it, it's not a lot cheaper. So, I'm not sure about that. I might set it up on this tablet and sort of get it working and see what happens. Anyway. So that's what's happening. What other exciting things are happening? Honestly, not sure. All I know that there's a lot of stuff here that needs to be put away. Yeah, well, he's probably right in that, Bill. They are good knives, so I don't know. Maybe it's worthwhile sort of having a good look at it. This drill standard thing is pretty ordinary, to be honest. It's very difficult to see without a good torch on it, and find the numbers of the drills and put them back in the right spot and all that sort of stuff. It spins around, which is all right, but it takes up bench space and you knock it over easy, and you've got to pick it up and have a look at it every time, and the base falls off it. Bit of a nuisance of a thing. So what I'm thinking is to make some sort of a post up here, maybe, somewhere, with an arm and a peg, and put this on top of it so it swings around out of the way. And then you can swing it out here and have a look. So if your arm could go up here, then it could be out here somewhere, and you swing it around in the dead space here. And then you could bring it round here and select a drill and push it back. So that's a thought on that. Might make it a whole lot better. Dreamstein, g'day. Hope everything's good in Germany. That's something that needs working on. The other thing is the reamer situation. And probably if I have two of those drawers over there, we could put, like I mentioned before, we could put some of them in there as well. So that's the theory behind that. There are a lot of empty spaces in the drill holder, yes. I've never ever got a complete set of these. And there are bits and pieces everywhere, and it's a full of a drill holder. That's some of the problem. And it wasn't a complete set to start with. So it was a nearly complete set with decent drills, and then I got the drill holder bit afterwards, which is a bit of an issue. Speaking of broken things, I've got this nice Moore and Wright combination square. When I went to put that switch on the side of the mill, and I thought, well, how do I get that square, level or upright or whatever? I thought I'll grab a combination square. It's got a level in it, remember? However, over the last few years of this sitting in the box, it appears to have been leaking because there's no bubble in it, no liquid in it anymore. So I don't know what to do about that. If anyone's got any thoughts about that, hit me up. Let me know. Because it's a bit of a nuisance. I'm a bit annoyed about that because it's a good square. And it has been in the box for the last 12 months, so I don't know. Bubbles falling out. Bubble's always in the middle. Yeah, there's no bubble in it at all. There's no nothing. What else happened? There was a gramophone sitting here. I don't know if anyone remembered, on top of this box, but I managed to pass it along to a guy who came to buy some other stuff, which was good. And in exchange, I got this, which I meant to show you. I'm going to put this back on here. I really need to have a sit down and print some bits for tablet and phone and camera holders and things, which I haven't been particularly proactive about. And this one's busted because it's been stepped on or some crap. I'll just put this back on here, sort of. Maybe. There we go. It's on there now. And we've got bump something. Take care, Paul. Anyway, this was something that he picked up at the market and he didn't know what it was, so I swapped it. I know what it is. It's a fairly useful thing. I guess everyone else knows what it is too. But it's a Carnash, made in Germany. It's Morse taper 2, Morse taper 3, Morse taper 3, I think. Now, this is a pretty useful thing. Bruce Witham sort of showed how to use this. It's a annular cutter holder. Which may or may not fit. Steve? Who's Steve? And that's an actual thing. Now, I had thought to make one of these, and I probably still will make one for the launch, because it's a pretty useful thing to have in the lathe. But it's a cutter for, and it's a holder for an annular cutter or a rotary broach. if my annular cutter actually lines up with it. That'll be another thing. Which it probably doesn't. Anyway, very useful thing for drilling big holes in the lathe because it doesn't require anywhere near as much force, and it gives you a round hole in thinner pieces. It's about the same price for a cutter as it is for a big drill, but certainly A, fair bit easier to sharpen, and B, doesn't waste a bit of metal out of the middle in a small hobby shop, and C, it's gives you a round hole and requires a bit less horsepower to drive it. But if you want to drill holes, big holes in a little milling machine, absolutely annular cutters are the way to do it. It's a pretty good deal, and also in the lathe. You can drill out the centre of a big piece of solid, at least you still get the core out of the middle. And that's supposed to pull in nice and tight there. Have a think about that. On the two holes. Yeah, bizarre. It does go, but it only goes one way. There you go, it does fit. Probably. Yep, no idea. Anyway. Tea and biscuits, we don't ask those sort of questions. It's a really a rude question. I thought you were a nice person. Anyway, uncompleted project count is high. That's where we're going to go with that. It's a little bit lower than it was because I may have sold a couple, or removed a couple, or dumped a couple, or so forth and so on. Hey, Mark. Anyway, if you see one of them around, grab it. Or if you see plans to make one, grab that too. Because once you've used one of these in the lathe, it's fantastic. Sorry. I must have bumped that. And for some reason, oh, there we go, that's what's happened. Right. The problem is not where the issue was before with this battery camera mount. We'll have a look at that. I don't know if it is less than a lot. That's a difficult sort of a situation to answer. Sorry about that. This clip, which is a helmet clip for GoPro being used backwards, and the other half that's usually on the helmet or on the smooth surface is on the back of the tablet. And it usually just clips on here, which is great. And it's got GoPro connections all the way through. And it's got F-clamp, which is a really good system, except that this is broken. So somewhere, probably in one of these boxes on one of these shelves, there should be another one of those clips which we can just unscrew and swap over. However, I haven't got there yet. Sorry, guys. Uncompleted projects. I don't know what you define or how you define an uncompleted project. That's a very difficult thing. Because looking over here, right, in the shelf of uncompleted projects, there's that one, right, which we're not talking about. Hey, Nigel. There's this one, which we have talked about a little bit, and I'm not really ever thinking I'm going to complete that. I'm just doing a little bit more on it. There's that one, which is a little weir pump that's been uncompleted for about 25 years. There's that one, which is a Stewart Progress engine. It's been uncompleted for a little while. There's that one there, which is the pulley off my die filing machine, which may not get completed. If someone wants a die filing project, hit me up, because I'm not sure that's something I'm ever going to finish. There's that one, which is the ellipse chuck for the lathe. Someone might be counting, I'm not. There's that one, which is harmonograph. It's a fairly recent project. Gosh. Mark, that's very, very astute, really. That's kind of how it is. Maybe, yeah. Listen to Mark. Mark's got the idea. There's this one, right, which is completed enough to work, but it's not completed enough to be finished. That's still a project. And it's probably not a big deal to get it finished, but I need to focus on the other things for a minute. There's this overhead drive, which isn't completed because it hasn't got reverse on it and haven't got the pedals on it yet. I have a John Deere 1/3 scale miniature tractor, which isn't anywhere near finished. I've got a 3.5 inch gauge locomotive that's sort of well past the halfway mark. Jeez Louise. So yeah, there's projects. There's a fairly recent project, is a set of shelves for the back of the van that need a clean up and a sandblast. That's probably a have to do. I have a steamroller, which is another kind of needs doing. There's not much you can do to get out of that. You just got to keep at it as much as you possibly can. My main uncompleted project at the moment is getting this somewhere near clean and tidy, but I'm not sure how that's working for me. There's a Leyland rocker cover leaning up there in the corner. I had thought that I was going to get that powder coated and polished and cleaned up and make a bedroom mirror out of it with a tilting top, which would be very, very nice, I think. However, that has never happened. Yeah, there's a few projects, but lots of them require space moment I don't have a whole lot of that. Hope you're doing all right with the flood, Nigel. It's not much fun. So that's the uncompleted projects list. And the not started project list is probably bigger. That's a bit of an issue. But they're not doing anything, they're not going anywhere, and they're not hurting anything. I've got mostly casting kits and things down there all wrapped up. There's at least a few engines. Couple of steam engines, a couple of petrol engines, all sorts of stuff in there. None of which is really particularly pressing at the moment. There's a cardboard box in the bottom there, a removalist box. It looks like it's about half full, so we probably need to remove that and put it in something else and get rid of the box to get a bit more room. It's all things like that. I seem to have got more clamps than I ever thought I needed. And there's a heap around this drawer, this shelf too. Anyway, sort of the big thing is to get this cupboard clean, tidy, nice and neat, everything put away. I'm still pulling stuff apart and finding things. And from there, we can keep this bench a bit tidy because all the things that are on that bench could be put away somewhere. And from there, we could probably put some more stuff on here and get that cleaned up and tidied. And the same with this bench here. If we got this engine back together and on display somewhere, then we would have a fair bit more space on both these benches. So there we go. Some things like this box here has a what was going to be power feed for the Centec. Probably I'm going to pull it apart, and any of the bits that are half any good or new or usable for something else will go in a box or put away with the appropriate department, and the rest will just get tossed. So that's something that's got to go through at some point. But yeah, it's ongoing at the moment. Every time I come in here, I put something away. My dad made that puller, a very good puller actually, with a slam hammer on it, and other slam hammer attachments and things too. Fairly useful thing. That was a birthday present for me when I was messing around with things like that. Very useful thing for stationary engines and so forth, and rotten old rusty bits and bolts and so on. But yeah, that's something my dad made. Anyway, there we go. That's a bit of a tour of this workshop anyway. We might try and get in the other one next week. See how we go. And there has been some progress on the little bits here on that engine. There's been a little bit of progress on these. Not very much, but a little bit of progress on the drain cocks. And there's been a little bit of clutter's been moved on. There's been people picking stuff up. And I've sold some stuff, but most of the stuff is probably less than $8 is going to go in a new alternator for the car at this point. I'll see how we go. That puller opens up to about 14 inches, something like that. It's a crazy big opening on it. And that nut on top, you unscrew that and screw it on the other way up, and then it gives you some fine adjustment in the smaller diameters. Take care, James. I'm out too, I think. I think I've sort of going about to call it quits. Thanks for putting up with the mess and the tardiness tonight. I was a bit slack, but did make it. Forgot it was even Wednesday until about 8 o'clock. And I thought, oh crap, I meant to recharge the tablet and stuff, but it didn't happen. And I meant to fix this camera mount, but that didn't happen either. If we have a look over here, probably. Oh. Aha. It's as easy as that. If I get it out, we might remember. Or it's just more clutter on the bench. I don't know. But there's one without the broken ear. So we could put that on there. And that would fix that problem. So, might do that. Anyway, take care. Good to see you, Matt. Good to see everyone else. I'm going to put away the stuff I've just got out for this. And at least we're back where we started. And then I'm going to go and have a cup of tea. And probably go to bed, I think. So, thanks, guys. And more soon. And hopefully there might even be some actual real content at some point. Anyway, I've already said I'm not going to film any of this engine or progress made on it. But there are other jobs that need to be done. So anyway, take care and be kind to each other. I'm out.